Skinny fat is one of the most frustrating body types to have. Your arms are small, your chest is flat, your love handles stick out, and that stubborn belly fat just won't shift. So do you cut the fat or bulk up? Do you focus on cardio or lifting weights? Well, you're in the right place, because in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4-step plan that will take you from skinny fat to shredded. I'll break down the exact training, nutrition, habits, and mindset shifts that you need to finally build a lean, strong physique. This is the exact same system I've used to help hundreds of guys to transform their bodies and rebuild their confidence, all without crash diets or complicated routines. So turn off your notifications, full screen this video, and let's lock in, lads. Step 1, mindset. Being skinny fat feels like you've been left off the body type chart. You're not overweight, but you're not lean either. You're not skinny, but you've got no muscle to show. So you're not an ectomorph, you're not an endomorph, and you're not a mesomorph. It's like you're stuck in limbo. Too soft to feel confident shirtless, and too small to look good in clothes. And the worst part is, no one really tells you what to do. Most advice is very black or white. Just bulk, just cut, just train harder. Rule of thumb, by the way, don't listen to anyone who starts their sentences with the word just. It's lazy, and the solution is rarely that simple. None of that advice actually works when you're stuck in the gray area in between. I doubt this is the first video you've watched about being skinny fat, and I expect most of them started by going straight into diet and training. But this video is going to be different, because the truth is, change starts in the mind. That's why before we even talk about training or diet, we need to upgrade the way you think. You're not going to build a lean, muscular body with the same identity that built a skinny fat one. But do not worry, this is not, I repeat, not me talking about some woke pronouns BS. I'm talking about changing how you think about yourself and smashing your limiting beliefs. Because if you want to become a new man, you need to stop thinking like the old one. So how do you do that? Start with this. Find someone who has the body you want and copy everything they do. Think about it. You wouldn't take financial advice from a homeless person, just like I hope you wouldn't take health advice from someone who's on their deathbed. So if your mate who hasn't lifted a weight for 10 years is telling you how to train, just ignore him. But equally, if some influencer shredded on gear, working out twice a day and living off boiled chicken and rice is telling you what to do, ignore him too. What you want to find is someone who's built the kind of body that you want. In fact, no, scratch that, the kind of life that you want. And then reverse engineer it. How do they eat? How do they train? What habits do they follow? What mindset do they have when things get tough? One of the first exercises I get my clients to do when they join my program is something called the superhero mindset shift, because I'm a firm believer that every man has a superhero in him. Underneath all the excuses and all the limiting beliefs, he's there. You just have to find him. And the best way to do that is to find someone else whose life you want to model your own on. Because transformation isn't just physical, it's psychological. And like I said, change starts in the mind. Your external world is a reflection of your internal world. If you see yourself as the lazy guy who always quits, you're going to keep quitting. But if you start seeing yourself as the kind of man who does what needs to be done, even when he doesn't feel like it, everything changes. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to become consistent enough to prove to yourself that you can follow through. Once you start turning up for yourself and string together a few days where you're sticking to your habits, that's when you start to build momentum. That's when you start to realize that it's not a question of if you can do something, but when you're going to do something. That positive reinforcement tells your brain, we like this, so let's do more of it. And that is how you build confidence. Not by hitting some magical weight on the scale, not by having a six-pack, but by doing hard things and realizing you're capable of more than you thought. So before we dive into the tactical stuff, before we talk about macros, reps, steps, and sleep, I want you to ask yourself one important question. Who is the man I want to become? And once you've got the answer, start acting like him. Because results don't come from knowledge. They come from action. And when your actions match your vision, your body will catch up. Once you've upgraded how you think, it's time to upgrade what you do, starting with your daily habits. Step 2, habits. Our habits tell us a lot about ourselves. Have you ever watched an elite fighter step into the ring? Every move is sharp. Every reaction is instinct. He's calm, focused, dangerous. It looks effortless, but what you're seeing is not luck or natural ability. It's the result of disciplined training and hundreds of tiny habits stacked together into a routine. You want your life to work the same way, because your routine is just the sum of your habits. And if you want a better body, you need a better routine, which is made up of the right habits. But not all habits are created equal. Archimedes once said, "Give me a place to stand and a lever long enough, and I will move the world." What he meant by this was, with enough leverage, you can achieve anything. That's why you want to focus on high leverage habits that give you 2, 3, even 5 benefits from a single action. Take drinking more water. It doesn't sound sexy, but it gives you more energy, curbs cravings, improves digestion, boosts mental clarity, and supports fat loss. One habit, 5 benefits. Same goes for setting a bedtime alarm. Not to wake up, but to put your phone on Do Not Disturb and wind down. Because sleep is the foundation of health. Better sleep means better recovery, higher testosterone, fewer cravings, better mood, and more energy to train. Walking daily is another one. The average man is only on his feet for 40 minutes a day. But if you can commit to walking for 3 hours a week, you'll burn an extra 600 calories. That might not sound like much, but it adds up to 9 pounds of fat a year. And if you bump that up to 10,000 steps a day, you'll be walking the equivalent of 70 marathons a year. You don't need to run them, you just need to walk them. One of my clients, Paul, lost 30 pounds in 3 months without ever running a single meter or setting foot in a gym. He trained 2 to 3 times per week from home, hit his step goal, and followed a simple food system. That's the power of high leverage habits. And the real magic, they're daily. Daily habits are what build consistency, and consistency builds results. So if you're serious about transforming your body, I recommend you focus on 5. Daily steps, drinking more water, prioritizing sleep, spending less time doom scrolling, and eating more protein. Most guys say that they don't have time, but if you've got time to scroll Instagram for an hour, you've got time to move your body, drink some more water, and eat like an adult. Cutting your phone time is actually the habit I recommend that you start with. Yes, it gives you back your time, but it also makes you realize that time isn't the problem. Focus and effort are the problem. The reality is, for a lot of guys, is that you're just stuck in a comfort crisis. That's why while adding habits is important, removing bad ones matters just as much. Think of it like debugging a computer. You've got to remove the viruses before it can run properly. But instead of going cold turkey, swap the habit. I did this with caffeine. Instead of quitting coffee, I switched to decaf. So same ritual, but better outcome. And that's how habits stick. You replace them rather than remove them. I'd also recommend picking one habit that you can do in the morning, because if you win the morning, you're more likely to win the day. And if you win the day, you're more likely to win the week. There's a great quote by Ernest Hemingway. There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. That is what this is really about. Not perfection, just progress. In Japan, they call this Kaizen, the philosophy of continuous improvement, getting 1% better every day through small, sustainable changes that compound over time. That's how real transformation happens. And the healthiest habit that nobody talks about? Patience. Guys, this is a process. Respect it, and it will reward you. But habits alone won't reshape your body, particularly if you're skinny fat. You need to train with purpose, and that's exactly what we're going to cover next. Step 3, training. If you want to go from skinny fat to shredded, training isn't just a box that you can tick. It's the engine that's going to drive your transformation. Lifting is how you shape your body, not just shrink it, because muscle isn't just for aesthetics. It speeds up your metabolism, reshapes your body, and makes everything you do more effective. More muscle means you burn more calories, even at rest. It acts like armor for your physique, and it's the only way to stop looking soft and start looking strong. But here's the mistake most guys make. They think training is jumping around the gym like a lunatic, lifting the heaviest weight that they can find, and burning themselves out by training 7 days a week. So they hop from workout to workout, doing high reps one week, lift heavy the next week, switching exercises every session, trying to confuse the muscles. Let me be blunt with you. The only person who's confused is you. Your muscles don't need confusion. Trust me, they'll be confused enough when you show up to the gym for the first time in months. No, what your muscles need is consistency. Think about it. You wouldn't try to speak a new language every week and expect to become fluent, would you? Training is the same, because exercises aren't just exercises, they're skills. And the only way to get better at a skill is to practice it. That's why I recommend starting with a 3-day full body split built around compound movements. You don't need to live in the gym. You just need to train with purpose. 3 sessions a week is more than enough if you're consistent and training with some intensity. So here's how I'd structure your sessions. Focus on the big lifts, so squats, deadlifts, bench press, rows, pull-ups, and overhead press. Use lighter weight so you can control the movement and get full range of motion. Double down on what everyone else is doing and push for 15 to 20 reps every set. Focus on improving your form every week. Track everything, not just your weight, but your reps, your sets, and how each lift feels. And stick to the same exercises for at least 6 to 8 weeks. This is the exact style of training I use with my guys when they come to me skinny fat. The best example I can show you here is Pete. I mean, these pictures speak for themselves, and what's absolutely crazy is that they were only taken 7 weeks apart. So if you follow that advice, you'll start seeing strength gains and body composition changes within just a few weeks. And that will give you more momentum and more confidence to just keep going. But if you're consistently switching up because you're bored, you're just sabotaging your progress. What I remind my clients of all the time is that boring works. It might not look flashy on social media, but it's the basics done well and done often that build elite results. One of my guys recently admitted that he thought he needed to do more, but when he actually slowed down, focused on form, and stuck to the same lifts, his strength skyrocketed, and so did his confidence. So don't worry about muscle confusion, worry about muscle connection. Dial in your technique, master the fundamentals, and get strong at the basics. Once you've got those locked in, you can start tweaking your program and adding in more volume or isolation work. But for now, just get brilliant at the basics. I cannot say this enough, because the man who does the basics well wins. Training gives you the shape, but nutrition reveals it. So let's talk about how to eat in a way that fuels your results without ruining your life. Step 4, nutrition. You can have the best workout plan in the world, but if your diet's off, nothing will change. Now, before you panic, I'm not about to tell you to eat nothing but chicken and broccoli for the next 12 weeks. In fact, if your plan feels restrictive, it's not going to be sustainable. That's why instead of chasing perfection, we keep it simple. The first thing to do is get you eating the right number of calories for you and your body. So all you need to do is take your goal body weight in pounds and multiply that by 12. So if you weigh 200, but you want to weigh 180, you'd multiply 180 by 12. That's going to put you in a moderate calorie deficit where your body is burning through the stored fat as fuel. But this isn't just a case of eating less. And that's why we want to focus on PFW, protein, fiber, water. These are your 3 nutritional non-negotiables because they do the heavy lifting for you. So let's break it down. Protein is the most important macronutrient when you're skinny fat. It helps to build and preserve lean muscle, it boosts your metabolism, and it keeps you full. So aim for 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you're not tracking, just make sure you get a lean protein source with every single meal. Fiber is what keeps you satisfied between meals. It helps with digestion, stabilizes your blood sugar, and kills cravings before they kick in. So stock up on fruit, veg, oats, and legumes. Basically, anything that comes from the earth. And water doesn't just keep you hydrated. It helps your body metabolize fat, curbs hunger, and improves your energy and mental clarity. You're probably not drinking enough of this stuff because most guys aren't. So start by aiming for 3 liters a day and see how you feel. When it comes to your meals, keep them simple. The more complicated your meals are, the less likely you are to stick to them. So build a rotation of 2 to 3 go-to options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Each meal should take 20 minutes or less to prepare, with a short ingredients list and simple cooking instructions. You're a busy guy. You don't need gourmet, you need consistency. But I've saved the most important dietary principle to last. You have to enjoy your food, because if you don't, your diet will feel like a life sentence. So the best way to approach this is using the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your food comes from whole, nutrient-dense produce, but you leave room for the 20% to come from the snacks and treats that you love and look forward to. Because that 20% is what's going to keep you consistent with the 80%. And if what you've done so far hasn't worked, it might be time to start tracking. Yes, it can be a ball ache, but it's also a massive unlock. Because right now, you're probably guessing. You can't guess your way to 12% body fat. Tracking your calories and macros is the fastest way to take control. Even if you're just doing it for 2 to 3 weeks, it gives you priceless data and shows you where you're going wrong. Just like training, your goal with nutrition isn't perfection, it's repetition. So find a system that works for your lifestyle. Stick to it for long enough to see results, and let the results build your momentum. Because when you combine smart training with simple nutrition, everything changes. That's the 4-step plan that will take you from skinny fat to shredded. We covered a lot today though, so here's a quick recap for you. Step 1, mindset. Before you change your body, you have to change how you think. Upgrade your identity, break your limiting beliefs, and start acting like the man you want to become. Step 2, habits. Build your routine around high leverage daily habits like walking, sleeping better, and drinking more water. Consistency beats intensity, and it all starts with your lifestyle. Step 3, training. Train to build muscle, not just to burn calories. Stick to a 3-day full body split, focus on perfect form, use higher reps, and master the basics before chasing variety. Step 4, nutrition. Keep it simple. Focus on protein, fiber, and water. Build repeatable meals that you actually enjoy, and if you're stuck, track your food for a few weeks to get clarity and control. Now you've got the map, but if you want help applying it to your life and you don't want to waste another 6 months guessing your way through it, then click the link under this video to find out exactly how my coaching program works and how we can personalize it to your goals, your schedule, and your body. No crash diets, no extreme workouts, just a proven system that actually works. But if you're new to my channel and still not sure that I'm the guy to help, check out this video next. I think you're going to like it.